Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the May 20th Parks, Recreation, and Community Services Commission meeting. May we have a roll call, please?
Sure. Commissioners Babayan, absent. Kafayan,
Yes.
Michaels,
Present.
Wolfson,
Present.
President Asatrian.
Present.
The agenda for the May 20th, 2019 regular meeting was posted on the bulletin board outside City Hall on or before Friday, May 17, 2019. Item 2, introductions and presentations at A is a volunteer recognition.
Good afternoon. My name is Patty Betancourt. I wanted to talk about the volunteer program. National Volunteer Week was commemorated during the week of April 7th through the 13th. Our department had a total of 12,797 volunteer hours, which totaled out to $153,564. So our volunteers are really beneficial and play an important role in our department and in the programs. We wanted to recognize some of them, so if you'll come down here to help us present the certificates. So as I call you guys up, if you'll please come up to receive your certificate. Dawn Moore, she's a great worker, excellent when it comes to cleanup and cleanup. Margie Erskine, Margie is outstanding volunteer, helps serve meals and light office work. Carol Tanner. Carol is a good server and complies by all the program rules. Carol is very responsible. Nick Gonzalez. Nick volunteers 7 days a week, rain or shine. Nick is an ambassador of goodwill. His signature good humorous greeting to our seniors is welcome to paradise. He makes the seniors happy and makes them laugh. Christina Canella. Christina is the type of volunteer who is always willing to cover any needed position when needed. Terry Ballman. Terry is a good worker and lets us know when she can't come to work, as she knows how important it is her role to us. Ratavus Bakshi has been a volunteer for many years, and he assists with the billiards room activities. We'd also like to recognize Kira Banks and Marcel Mitchell, who volunteered with the Glendale homeless camp. Do you have certificates for them?
They would have all been included in the packet I gave Gabrielle.
Sorry, Marcel. Yeah, that's it.
We'd love to get a photo with everyone.
That's what you get for not being a Dodger fan. Oh, yes, yes. You bet.
Everybody, look this way, look at the birdie. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Did we forget one? You got one. Yeah, one more.
They didn't call his name.
Lastly, I'm sorry, I wanted to also mention Chris Waldheim and Grant Michaels for helping with the homeless count. We wanted to take the time to recognize some of the volunteers who are not here. From the Trails and Open Space Program, Teresa May, Tricia Althen, Jerry Burnham, Robert Thompson, Russ Harmon, Peter Roosh, Jeanette Margiski, and Wayne Stinson. From the youth programs, Andrea Martinez, Anna Sorukyan, Antronik Banalian, Eric Agakani, Carissa Martinez, Kylie Martinez, Lucas Omari, Nicole Avakian, Raj Kapoor, Shirak Karedian, Moises Serrano, Nara Aratunian, David Serranian, Erica Martinez. From sports, Richard Jover. And from senior programs, Fedra Avanesian and Armin Hakobian. Thank you.
Next item, please.
Next on the agenda is item 3, upcoming council agenda items.
Thank you, President Sartorian and members of the commission. We have a number of items coming up in the next couple weeks. First item will be on June 4th, the Verdugo Workforce Development Board's annual certification for fiscal year 1920 and fiscal year 2021. Second item would be acceptance of Workforce Accelerator funds in the amount of $150,000. Third item would be approval of Verdugo Workforce Development Board MOUs Phase 2, Second Amendment. And depending on what happens today at our meeting, the Glendale Heritage Garden Fitness and Playground Equipment. On June 18th, we'll have the fiscal year 2019-2020 non-competitive subaward for our supportive services program for the senior meals. And also Parks Make Life Better Month proclamation.
Next item.
Next item on the agenda is item 4, commission staff comments.
No comments.
President Asatri, members of the commission, if you don't have any comments, I would like to make some announcements, some upcoming events in the next month or so for the department. I'll bring up a PowerPoint presentation. On May 21st from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m., PACE is offering a home energy assistance program for utility bill assistance at Pacific Community Center. The 90+ celebration will take place on May 23rd from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Adult Recreation Center. We're having Tea Night Out on May 24th and June 7th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. at Pacific Community Center. The splash pads will open daily from May 27th through September 6th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and that's at Pacific and at Cerritos. The Pacific Community Pool will be open from May 27th through September 29th. For more information, visit www.glendaleaquatics.com. The Senior Services Committee will have a meeting on May 30th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. at Spar Heights Community Center. We're offering a teen workshop called What You Need to Know About Vaping on June 7th at 6 p.m. at Pacific Community Center. We're offering a campfire program called Oh Dear on June 8th at Dugmajan Wilderness Park. We have a Riverwalk work day on June 15th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Glendale Narrows Riverwalk. And at Brent Friendship Garden, there's going to be an International Music, Dance, and Martial Arts Day on June 16th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Summer day camps and summer classes begin on June 17. Please visit our website at www.glendaleca.gov/parks for more information. And then the Parks Commission will have its regular meeting also on June 17th at 2:30 p.m. here in the council chambers.
I actually have a question on events like what you need to know about vaping. I can't really picture a lot of teens and the target audience actually coming out to listen to such a topic, however important it may be. But perhaps creating a collaborative partnership with schools and maybe health classes where we reach out to the teachers that offer extra credit for students to attend stuff like this may be something that entices them to do so. Trying to think of some ways that we can get more teens out to actually benefit from these events. So.
President Asatran, I probably should have mentioned, this is offered as part of Teen Night Out. So
Okay.
the kids that come out for that are going to be present probably already.
Okay, thank you.
But I'll make a note of that as well.
Next item?
Next is item 5, oral communications. I don't have any cards. Item 6, consent items. At A's approval of the minutes of the commission regular meeting held on March 18, 2019. If I may, President Asatran, I did make a correction that Commissioner Wolfson brought up. On item 3, the first sentence, I changed Wilson to Wolfson. It was a typo, so I apologize for that. But that change has been made. If any motion could include the correction, please.
I will move it.
I'll second.
Thank you. And that would be as corrected. Commissioners Babayan, absent. Kalfayan?
Yes.
Michaels?
Yes.
Wolfson?
Yes.
President Asatrian?
I'll be abstaining.
Thank you. Item 7, action items. At A, Glendale Heritage Garden Fitness Equipment and Playground Replacement Project. At 1 is a motion to note and file a report regarding the Glendale Heritage Garden Fitness Equipment and Playground Replacement Project.
Good afternoon, President Asadri and members of the commission. We wanted to discuss a very exciting project we have upcoming at our Glendale Heritage Garden facility. So Glendale Heritage Garden is located at 141 South Cedar at the intersection of Cedar and Harvard. It is approximately a half-acre park, 23,400 square feet in size. It has the Craftsman Bungalow, 1913. It's a historic Craftsman Bungalow, currently used by All for Health, a nonprofit that provides services to the community. We have an existing playground, picnic areas. It has nice landscaping, shade trees, as well as an art element, with 2 parking spaces to the east side of the facility. About a few months ago, we received a letter from members of the community who use the park, and they're very passionate about the park. They're very excited about it. Yet they came to us with a request to put some shade in the trellis area, which we'll show you later on. The intent there was to have vines that were initially planted grow and cover the entire shade structure and provide shade for the tables. For whatever odd reason, some of those did not survive, so there has been no shade. We agreed to meet with them on site to discuss their concerns, and while we're discussing their concerns, we discussed with them about a fitness equipment grant that we had received about a couple of years before, and the fitness equipment was to go in the existing playground location. Now, after we brought this to their attention, they said, no, do not get rid of the playground equipment. Might as well replace it with something that the kids would use, because currently, we'll show you, it is a spiderweb play equipment that is not getting the intended use from the community. So with that in mind, we went back to the drawing board and came up with some ideas to address all of their concerns. What you notice here is we did plant wisteria, the shrubs that you see, the ivy that you see growing at each post all around the perimeter of the trellis. The wisteria within the next 2 years will grow and cover the entire canopy and provide shade to the trellis area. And so this would be one way for us to provide the shade that they're looking for. And if you notice, there are a lot of open gaps between the posts. We're going to put additional ones so that once it is fully grown, it would cover and won't have a lot of weight and, weigh it down. So the shade will be covered by using this. I know we looked at ideas of providing some cloth shading or whatnot. It would take away from the intent of the original design. And we want to go back to what was intended to be and provide the design as such. The other is we have a little sand area here right by the DG walkway. It was intended to be a play sand area for the kids. It is not getting used for that. And as you note, the DG walkway along it is always getting the DG and the sand mixed in. So based on their recommendation, we met with the vendor and identified this area would be an ideal area for the fitness equipment. Now, obviously, we'd have to go in and we have to pour some concrete. So we have to excavate the sand, pour in concrete, and then all of the equipment you see in this design, they'll be surface mounted. It'll be very easy. Our staff will be able to do it in-house. We'll be reaching out to our friends at the GYA to use some youth employment, because part of the grant requires us to work with the youth in getting this site prep. So we're going to use them for the site prep. We'll likely work with our public works friends to do the concrete if the schedule permits. If not, we'll do that in-house. And you see we'll have 7 pieces of equipment, as well as a sign that explains more or less the rules of what to do, what not to do in this area. And most of them can be used by any able-bodied individual. We even had one specifically put in for a wheelchair accessible. If anybody does need to use it with a wheelchair, they can. Now, going back to the playground equipment, the existing design is a spider climber. It is seldom used, and our goal is to replace it something that really provides more play value for the children. And with that, this is what it looks like currently. It is a bit challenging for most kids, so they do stay away. Here's the design that we came up with. Now, mind you, this location is very small. It's less than 1,000 square feet for the play area, entire play area. That limits our ability to do a grandiose design of a playground, because every element in a play area has specific fall zones for safety. With that, we worked with our vendor and looked at a few different options and came up with this one as being the most ideal for this site. It will be through Game Time, Great Western Recreation. They built the 2 facilities for us, the playgrounds at Carr Park and Nibley Park. Did a very good job. So we're looking at moving forward with this firm using this play equipment. It has some sensory, it has some play, it has structure with slides and climbers. So most of the kids that would be visiting you should have something good to be able to play with. And this is the sound, I believe they play tunes in this thing. It's a sound sensory play equipment. Our tentative schedule today, we are looking, go through the commission with their blessings to move on to the council. I have listed June 18th. We'll confirm on the schedule when we do take this item to council for their approval. And then on both, we'd have to go through a contract or a purchase order approval through our finance purchasing. On the fitness equipment, we will be conducting the site prep, getting the sand excavated, poured in concrete. And on that purchase and delivery for fitness equipment, we're estimating July 31st. And we should have that project completed by August the 7th. For the playground equipment, it takes a little longer because we have to go through the permitting process. And along with permitting, manufacturing is about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. On something small like this, the vendor said they can finalize the deliver of the equipment within 6 weeks. So we're hoping within a month and a half, we'll have everything ready to go. And roughly about 45 days to 60 days of construction. Now, that's a very liberal timeline. We'll probably get it done even sooner. Want to play it safe with this year, with the rains we've experienced. I mean, I hope we get a nice rainy season next fall and winter as well. But with this timeline, we should be able to have everything completed at the playground by November 15th. The estimated project cost, the fitness equipment, the cost of purchase is $43,000. That's purchase and delivery. And then we're looking at approximately $2,500 for the site prep and installation. So the project should cost about $45,900. And the playground equipment cost is installed $95,139. The purchase of the equipment is roughly about $77,983. That's purchase and installation. We've left a project contingency for the unknown. Once we remove the play equipment, we're not sure what we're going to run into. And then for soft cost project management is approximately 10% of the cost. And this play equipment will be rubberized safety surfacing versus what we had currently, which is the 5-bar safety, kind of like the wood chips material that we have. That is essentially the end of the presentation. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer for you.
My first question, when the shade structure was built in 2010, what was the original covering, or what was planted there?
It was ivy. I'm not certain what it was. It was meant to cover just like the wisteria is going to cover. The reason why I went with the wisteria now is it is fast growing. It's going to sustain itself a little more. It's more durable. And we have now irrigation adjusted so that every individual wisteria plant has its own watering sprinkler for that area. So it should sustain itself a lot more. I'm not familiar what it was before because most were dead and gone at this point.
Because when I did look at it, it obviously looked like it was designed for something, but it wasn't quite there.
Correct.
So, and again, how long do you anticipate the wisteria taking to grow in versus putting a shade cloth over it now?
Two answers to that. The first, as far as the wisteria goes, we're looking at within a couple of years, you should start getting to the top portion, starting to cover. So within 3 years, we should have full coverage because wisteria is a very fast-growing plant. The reason why we opted not to go with the shade coverage on top is it takes away from the intent in the original design. Trellises are not meant to have shade coverage with cloth. They're intended to be more open, let the sunlight through, and with the original design, having it so that a plant material will cover it, provide the shade, and also make it look a bit more serene is the reason why we went back to the wisteria.
No, my question for the shade cloth was just as a temporary measure until the wisteria started to grow in.
That's an exceptional question, Commissioner Michaels. It's just the cost associated with putting the cloth. It's not very feasible for us to do that and yet remove it because you have to do structurally, make sure it's going to stay, and cost for getting it designed and permitted and plugged in. We felt it best to go straight to the original idea of having it covered with the with shade ivy.
Okay. And with the sound feature in the play equipment, is there a way to control the hours that would be functional, just to ensure that it does turn off when the park is closed, or be able to control that?
I'm going to have to check on that. I cannot tell you for sure if it does or not, but I will have to check on that one for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Not at this time.
I wanted to ask a couple of things. First of all, I think I already kind of cleared this, but I'm just hoping that we won't be sacrificing any of the trees that are there, number one. What are we going to do with the spider web thing? Can we maybe donate it somewhere? We've talked about that in the past, and, I don't know if it's that desirable, but maybe somewhere they could use it. And the play equipment, I guess, is going where that thing is now. Is that right? So we're not sacrificing any more space for the new playground. That's what I'm wondering.
President Asadarian, Commissioner Wolfson, and Commissioners, the first question about trees, no, we are not going to be sacrificing any trees for this project. The intent is to use the sand location for the equipment, for the fitness equipment, and the current playground equipment location will be where the new playground is going to go at the same exact size. Hence, the costs are lower than other projects. We do not intend to extend it. We do not intend to impact the landscape or the trees in that vicinity. As far as the old equipment and the donation goes, with this project, the intent was to recycle this into just as elements of metal and recycling, and not have it donated anywhere else. At this point, that was the intent with that.
Okay. And just as a comment, hopefully, when we do, after you do the work, maybe the grass and some of the plantings can be tidied up and filled in. It's a little patchy over there. As you know, I visited and I took some pictures, and I don't know if we want to take time now or not, because your pictures were so good that you guys had. It's up to you.
It's, as a matter of fact, it's up to the commission. What Commissioner Wolfson is discussing, she had visited the facility and sent us some pictures to upload so the commission and the viewers get a better idea of what the facility and the locations look like. I'd be happy to show. There are only a few pictures,
Okay.
and I've grouped them together.
Then let them rip.
So this is, actually, you've done a pretty good job of taking pictures. I might need your help in the future. This is the location of the trellis again and the play structure. The sand area where the fitness equipment is going to go. And Commissioner Wolfson had taken pictures on some benches within the perimeter of the walkways, some that have shade, others that do not have shade, and that's what we wanted to be able to show for you. We mentioned the art elements. That is the little piece right in the middle. Again, this is the DG walkway. In some areas where it looks like it's patchy grass, it actually is not. Those are intended to be DG pathways that weeds have grown in. So I am with you in the condition, what needs to be done. As you know, we've been really challenged this year with the amount of rain we received, with the explosion of weeds in all of our facilities, and frankly, the lack of our ability to use Roundup has had a significant impact on our ability to contain the weeds. These areas, if you're referring to, these are not intended to be turf areas. So, but overall, your point's well taken. The management of the site are aware that we're jumping from one facility to the next to address beautification. And this will be one of the sites when we complete some of the projects, it'll be in the cycle of parks that we visit and add to our list of beautifications for future projects.
And I like the idea of the plant material on the trellis because I think it's in keeping with the historic feeling of that house that's there and all of that. I think that would have been a period correct way that they would have gone with it. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not very comfortable about the trellis not having shade for 2 years. I mean, I visited myself the area. We must have a way of giving some temporary shade because during the day they cannot sit there. And I see all the apartments around it, they need some place to go and sit down and have a garden feeling. Is there a temporary way of covering? It doesn't have to cover on the top, maybe somewhere where we don't have to.
Commissioner Kalfayan, one way we can look at this is eventually we're going to put more of the wood planks on top to be able to have the wisteria grow. We can look at our schedule and moving that up so it would, as a matter of fact, provide a little more shade than it currently has. So it'll help until the wisteria fully grows in. So that's something we'll look at as far as our schedule goes and how soon we can move that up so we have a bit more shade than they currently do at that location.
And the house, who's using the house?
I believe it is the nonprofit All for Health, and they do provide counseling services to the community. Okay.
And they use the park themselves also?
It's possible they use the park as part of their process. They are in the park, but even without that, our park, it is in a dense neighborhood, and it is, as small a park it is heavily utilized by the neighbors, the apartment buildings, and all of the neighbors in that area. They do heavily use this facility.
President Asatrian, Commissioner Kalfayan, the park itself is not on the agreement per se, so they're not programming the park or using the park, but of course it's open to the public, so it's not part of the agreement, but their agreement is to be inside the building and operating outside of the building, but they are our eyes and ears at the park as well, so.
So I'll start by saying I absolutely love all the changes that you guys are bringing to this. The one comment I do have is I had two residents that live nearby that have younger children ask if it's possible for us to incorporate a swing. I didn't see one, and so I think it's my duty to just communicate that that was a request.
President Asarian, thank you for communicating that. With swings, the challenge is the rule of law requires us to have up to 12 feet of clearance for swings because of the fall zones. They are designed so for safety, if the kids are swinging and they decide to jump off, they must fall and land on safety surfacing. Given the sheer size of this site, we may not even be able to put in one swing because it doesn't have enough clearance for the fall zones. It's the reason why we opted not to put in a swing sign. So for the neighbors watching, that is the reason we cannot have a swing at this site.
All right. Thank you. I do have concerns about the shade as well, so if there's anything in the meantime you can come up with to mitigate until we have it completely covered, that would be much appreciated.
So we will definitely move up the schedule of getting the trellis, more of the wooden planks put in, and that should address some of the shade concerns that we've gotten, and then allow the wisteria to grow in with the vines and be structurally more sound as it grows.
Thank you.
One final comment with the shade. I was looking for a master plan. Is there any plans with Arbor Day trees or other trees to plant additional shade trees that might shade some of the picnic benches that are interior to the park or some of the benches?
Commissioner Michaels, as Arbor Day comes along, we typically identify facilities that are in need of shade. So this is one of the facilities we can consider in the future. As you know, the Arbor Day program allows donors to identify the facility they feel most comfortable planting, and we try to accommodate as best as we can if those sites have any vacant spots for trees. We'll take that into consideration with this location as well. We want to make sure there's sufficient amount of trees and not overloaded with trees so that you have a little more shade than not, because at times people, when it's a little colder day, they do want the sun. So they want to be able to provide areas for people to enjoy the sunny benches as well as the shade benches for the fall. But it'll be one of the sites we will always consider, and as Arbor Day trees get donated, it will be taken into consideration.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Can I move it now? Okay, so I like to move the replacement of this project of the equipment on the playground at the Heritage Garden Fitness.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioners Babayan? As absent. Kalfayan?
Yes.
Michaels?
Yes.
Wolfson?
Yes.
President Asatrian?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item is 8, reports information only. At A is annual volunteer report, which was covered already in item 2A. Moving on to 8B, customer service office and filming annual report.
Good afternoon, President Satrian, and I'm stumbling over my words already, and members of the Commission. Thank you very much for having me here today. I'm Gabrielle Golia, Senior Community Services Supervisor with the Parks Department. I am here today, right now, to present the Customer Service Office and Filming Annual Report. The Community Services and Parks Customer Service Office is located in the Civic Auditorium, and I am having some technical difficulties. I apologize.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. The Customer Service Office, this report is for the calendar year of January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, just so that you know the reporting period that we're talking about here. The Customer Service Office in this time period issued 569 building reservations for community buildings. This is significantly up from last year's 517 community building reservations. The majority of that is from a new program that is renting Dunsmore Community Building. It is a Japanese language learning program, Seiko Academy, that is linked to the FLAG program, which is their foreign language immersion program over at Dunsmore Elementary School. And they were a huge contributor over at Dunsmore to our reservations. They rented it every single day, Monday through Friday, during the school year. So every day that school was in session, this group was over at Dunsmore building renting from us. Here are the community buildings that we do rent out as part of our programs. We have Dunsmore Community Building on the top left, Brand Studios on the top right, Joe Bridges Clubhouse on the bottom left, and Griffith Manor Community Building on the bottom right. In addition to community building reservations, the Customer Service Office also handles our park reservations. We processed 924 park reservations in 2018 compared to the 789 in 2017. Again, a huge jump in reservations, which is wonderful for our department and for our parks. It does result in a little bit more work for Coco's side of the house on the Mondays coming back from our weekends, because the majority of these are weekend reservations. We saw a general trend of increase across all of the parks, but the majority of the increases were comprised of birthday parties, which were up 19% this year. Bridal showers were up 33% this year from last year, and special events were up 53% from last year. We also saw a huge increase in film permits this year. There was a 77% increase in film permits this year as compared to last year. So Glendale is a great place to film. These are some pictures of our lovely parks. We have Casa Adobe de San Rafael, Brand Friendship Garden, Catalina Verdugo Adobe, Lower Shoal Canyon Park, Cerritos Park, Duke Majan Park, Palmer Park, and Casa Adobe. Talking about film permits, this is that huge increase that we saw in film permits, 76 film permits in 2018 compared to 31 in 2017. We saw a big spike at the Glendale Sports Complex and Verdugo Park especially, but everything was up across the board. These do represent the number of facility reservations for filming, not the number of actual permits issued. One permit may have multiple facilities listed on it, so there may be a bit of a discrepancy there if you're adding in your head. Our fiscal impact, the majority of it is made up of 68% for facility reservations. This includes the park reservations as well as the building reservations. 20% is a registration fee, and 11% of our revenue comes in from film permits in this past year. In the previous year, we had $373,305 brought in revenue. This year, our total revenue was $456,984. Here's a brief chart of the overall expenses on the fiscal impact. In the 2018 fiscal or calendar year, this is, again is a calendar year, we spent $333,223 and we generated $456,984 in revenue for a net revenue of $123,761. So our program and our parks reservations are in the black. We are generating a revenue in this program, which helps to support programs that are not generating a revenue in the department. That is all I have for film permits and facility reservations in the presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Was there more outreach done, and that's why we had that spike in film permits, or where is that coming from?
President Asatrian, the film permits are a bit of a mystery to us. It really depends on the trend that is happening in the film industry. We do advertise in our brochures. We advertise online. We have a film permit brochure that we do put out there and on our website. But we didn't do any particular outreach this year over previous years. I think a lot of it just had to do with the trend of TV shows looking for our parks this year. It is a bit of a pendulum swing for film permits.
And how do we compare with other nearby cities? Do we have any statistics on that when it comes to filming and getting film permits?
No, I'm sorry, we don't have that kind of statistic. I can tell you that we get very positive feedback from the film companies. I have heard many times that we are much easier to work with than LA or Pasadena for film permits. Maybe that's why the swing has been coming this way. I'd like to think it is.
That's awesome to hear.
Thank you.
President Asatrian, I was actually going to mention that I think it might be word of mouth as more film companies are using Glendale in our sites, and I'm guessing they're realizing that either it's easier or they're starting to notice some of the facilities that we have and other films, and so that might be one of the reasons. But we don't have the statistics, but if you're interested, we could try to see if there is that information we can gather. So. In comparison.
Don't want to add any more work to you.
It's an interesting question.
I think it might just be a location scout, you know, who's working in the business, and if they just happen to like the look of our facilities, we're in luck.
President Asatrian and Commissioner Wolfson, that is correct. And I do hear that a lot, actually. I've seen some return customers. The location scouts are our primary customer for film permits. And when a location scout likes working with a particular city or a particular location, you will have return customers out of them from various projects because they hop from project to project. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is 8C, Contract Class Annual Report.
You can't get rid of me.
We don't want to.
So I am now going to be presenting our Contract Class Annual Report. And I apologize, we have a typo up there. Rentals and film permits actually shouldn't be on that title page, so please ignore that. This is our Contract Class Annual Report from January 1st through December 31st, 2018 as well. So the Community Services and Parks Department offers contract classes, which we also call our Lifelong Learning Class Program. And these are designed to provide enrichment classes for adults and children in our community. The contract classes are conducted at a number of different community centers as well as run out of our customer service office. So in the previous presentation, you may have seen that there was a registration fee portion of our revenue, and that relates to our contract class program. But we also offer classes at Pacific Community Center, the sports complex, and then out of our customer service office, we handle the Chevy Chase Library, Brand Studios. We have programs at Pacific Pool and at the Verdugo Skate Park. And we have a number of categories for our contract classes. We have citywide youth classes. Those may include art classes, yoga for youth, hip hop, parent and child art, drawing and painting, mixed media art. We have sports complex youth sports classes such as tennis and soccer, swimming lessons, which are coming up in just a couple of days. We're getting started with our aquatics program. Citywide adult classes, which include watercolor, yoga, open studio arts, Aikido. We have sports complex adult sports classes, which also include tennis, and we have badminton and volleyball. And then we have senior arts and senior exercise, which are drop-in classes located at our senior centers. In the 2018 calendar year, there were 1,233 registrations, 1,233 registrations processed, as compared to 1,263 in 2017. So we were down by 30 participants in 2018, which is a pretty steady trend. We had noticed a decrease from 2016 to 17, but we have been much more steady this year. Our contract class revenue has also remained very steady. Although we had a slight drop in the participation, we had a slight increase in revenue, and that is due to classes being more expensive, people choosing more expensive classes versus less expensive classes. In 2017, there was $157,595 collected. And this past year, there was $157,705. So just a slight difference in the revenue collected for the contract class program. Fees for the contract classes range from $30 all the way up to $1,185 per session. That most expensive one is an SAT prep course that we have attempted to offer a couple of times, and it has not been very successful, we think, due to the cost. Most classes don't exceed $150 per session, and sessions run between 6 and 10 weeks. So the class is set by, or the cost of the class is set by the instructor. The city does collect $10 per registration, and then the remaining fee is split between the instructor and the city. Typically, the split is 65% to the instructor, 35% to the city. Looking forward, we do have a new supervisor this year. We've had a transition from Eileen Isayan over to Norma Maurer. She's new to our section, and she's here in the audience today. Norma brings with us a very strong marketing background, so we are looking to continue marketing the contract classes at events, research our marketing trends, and we want to expand our categories for contract classes and try to explore more partnerships with GUSD. Does anyone have any questions that I can answer about contract classes? All right.
Well, one question.
Yes.
Looking at the downward trend of the sports classes, is there a reason for that with the renovations of facilities? Were facilities taken offline? Or as we're renovating more facilities, are you looking to see an increase in coming years?
President Desatrian, Commissioner Michaels, the main classes that we saw a decrease in the sports section were actually our youth volleyball classes, which we run at the Crescenta Valley High School. We think that that trend was due to kids graduating out of that age group and moving into another age group where they're not participating in that class anymore. So we have worked with the instructor and the school over there to advertise and push those programs to both the middle school and the high school. And we are seeing an increase in the participation in that class again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Next is 8D, Spar Heights Community Center Annual Report.
Good afternoon, President Asatryan, members of the Commission, City staff. My name is Saval Garabidian, Senior Community Services Supervisor with the Parks Department, and I'm going to do a presentation on the Spar Heights Community Center Annual Report, and this is for calendar year 2018. So Spar Heights Community Center is our northernmost community center out of the 4 community centers in the department, located in on 1613 Glencoe Way in Montrose, Glendale, California, 91208. So the facility, the building was first created in 1922. It underwent some upgrades in early 2000, around 2004. It's highly used by the community and the population that live near Spar Heights Community Center, anywhere from Fremont Elementary School using it for some additional programming to the Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts troops that meet up regularly during the week. It's also almost always booked on the weekends for various birthday parties, whether it's a 13-year-old's birthday party or a 60-year-old's birthday party and other social affairs. The community center, Spar Heights Community Center, like our other community centers, has a bunch of drop-in center-based programs such as knitted chat, wood carving, mahjong, card games like bridge, board games like backgammon, dominoes. We have 2 billiards tables at the facility. And we get utilization of our rooms when it comes to these activities. Here's a picture of our seniors playing bingo in the dining hall. Here's a picture of our bridge group and our mahjong players. And we basically rotate. There's always something going on, whether it's a Monday or a Friday, it doesn't matter. We always have some sort of activity alternating throughout these rooms. Backgammon, billiards. Moving forward, we also serve our senior nutritional meals program 5 days a week at this facility, so Monday through Friday, whereas ARC is 7 days a week. Spar Heights Community Center serves lunch 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and Pacific Community Center, like we had mentioned in meetings past, serves lunch 3 days a week. Here at Spar Heights Community Center, we also decorate for the holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving or Halloween or whatever the event may be. We decorate and we celebrate the lunch time celebration with a specific theme for that month. Just moving forward through some pictures. We offer drop-in exercise classes every day of the week. We offer Tai Chi 3 times a week, senior fitness 3 days a week, and then yoga twice a week. We also have a specialty fitness class for the intellectually disabled population or special needs population that's offered once a week on Fridays. We also offer lifelong learning classes through Glendale Community College. The 2 classes that we primarily offer are Ancient Civilizations class and our Discovering Yourself Through Memoir Writing class. So these are classes that a participant could sign up through Glendale College's Garfield campus, and we serve as their satellite location, and the classes are held at the community center. We also offer some children's programs in the afternoon, which include our after-school club on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And of course, we offer our Spartacular day camps 3 times a year, from summer to spring break to winter break. And SPAR's day camps, because of our meals program and how tight space could get, we only offer from noon to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. And to add some value to that camp, what we do is we partner up with our other city departments such as Glendale Fire, Glendale Police, Integrated Waste, Traffic and Transportation, and we offer some sort of additional activity or excursion or class where we bring in these other departments to come and talk to the kids. Whether it's Glendale Heroes Week and we have a police officer come or a firefighter come and do some sort of a presentation as it relates to their department, or we have the B-Line come talk to the kids on how to ride a bus, looking at schedules. We give out coins and they take that bus down to the Civic Auditorium, play indoor soccer, and then take that bus right back to SPAR. We also offer Parents' Night Out at the facility 3 times a week. And this is our fiscal impact for calendar year 2018. You could see that the numbers, the net profit loss is less than what we had in 2017. Part of that is because we had a an acting supervisor at the facility who was taking on the responsibilities of Spar Heights Community Center in addition to their regular day-to-day job. So that facility had an acting supervisor during calendar year 2018. And I have Melanie with me here who's watching. Melanie was just appointed as the supervisor for that facility as of April 28, and she'll be presenting this presentation starting next year, and she's taken over the responsibilities for that facility. In all, it's been very encouraging, even though we've had an acting supervisor, the numbers have been there, our day camp participation has been there, we haven't gotten many complaints or anything like that. Everything's been smooth and easygoing, so we should be back up to par like SPAR used to operate in 2017 soon. And that concludes my presentation, if anybody has any questions.
What's considered a mature adult? I'm kidding. On the memoir writing when it said open to mature adults, I just was wondering.
I think that was...
Sorry, couldn't help
okay,
myself.
President.
Thank you so much for the awesome report.
No problem.
Anything else? No? Okay, thank you. Next item.
Next item is 8E, section activity reports. One is workforce development.
Good afternoon, President Satrian, members of the Commission. My name is Judith Velasco. I am in charge of the workforce section of the Community Services and Parks Department. Our section is responsible for all grant funding related to workforce. So we receive direct funding from the Department of Labor in the fund that's called the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. The other half of our budget, our funding, comes from competitive grants that we submit applications on a regular basis. And that enables us to develop meaningful programs related to workforce that we can serve multiple populations. So attached is our workforce development section report. And I'm happy just to provide an update on a couple of projects we've done. One in particular, which I believe I've mentioned in previous meetings, is our Verdugo Computer Numeric Control Machinist Academy. 2 months ago, Wednesday, March 20th, we had a graduation at Glendale Community College where 15 individuals with intellectual disabilities, including autism spectrum disorder, completed a rigorous 4-credit CNC machinist program. So this program included Mastercam, engineering and machining. They learned how to set up programs and operate CNC machines using quality control instruments. Because it's a 4-credit program, the graduates will now be able to use the credit if they want to pursue an AA degree. I want to say, and I'm very proud of this program, that we're the only 4-credit CNC machinist program for individuals with disabilities in the Los Angeles basin region. There are other programs that exist that are non-credit and have a different design. This is the fourth cohort that graduated. We're currently recruiting for the 5th class that will start in August. We're hoping after the 5th class we would have a total of 80 students who have participated and enrolled in this program. We have various partners for this particular program, including the Department of Rehabilitation, the Regional Center, Glendale Community College, as well as the Adult Education Block Grant Glendale Learns. It's these partnerships that allow us to really provide the resources needed to the population. So due to our work in the area of disabilities and focusing on employment services, we applied for another grant to serve youth with disabilities, which is called the STEPS program. So this year we received notification of a grant award through the Department of Rehabilitation for the amount of $400,000 to serve 80 youth with disabilities in our region. So we are working closely with Glendale Unified School District and Burbank Unified School District, their SELPA programs, to outreach and let families know about this opportunity if they would like their youth to be engaged in a work-based learning opportunity this summer. We have those opportunities. The Glendale Youth Alliance will be the case manager of this program. They will be receiving soft skills training through the Professional Development Center, Glendale Community College. about 180 hours of paid work experience, and they will receive $12 an hour and about 20 hours of training provided by the Professional Development Center. So this is the second year we received a grant to serve youth with disabilities. The first year, we served about 60 youth with disabilities, and it was our signature meaningful program that youth were never exposed to work-based learning opportunities. And I would say out of the 60 youth, about 10 youth are now in permanent employment, but the other youth are either engaged in another work-based learning opportunity or are pursuing post-secondary degrees. Part of this Youth with Disabilities program entails a field trip to Glendale Community College. So many of the youth have never been exposed to a community college, a college program, so it's their first experience, and they actually feel connected and they feel the possibility of attending a college. So we're really excited in offering this program to the community, and I look forward to coming to future meetings to present additional funding that we are able to secure to support the populations that need work-based learning opportunities. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is 8E2, Recreation and Community Services.
Good afternoon, President Nasser and members of the Commission. So I'm going to go over the Recreation and Community Services Monthly Activity Report. So bear with me, it's a 2-month report because we skipped our last meeting. So we're going to go from March through April. Okay. On March 30th, 2019, Pacific Park and Community Center hosted Cesar Chavez's commemorative event that the city holds annually. This year we changed up the event and we held it in the park's Chavez Plaza, all outdoor event. We used the basketball court and the plaza to present the event. We had our food truck, we had raffle prizes, we had live performances and entertainers, and overall it was a very successful event. Following that, about 2 weeks later, we had the department's annual spring extravaganza, also at Pacific Community Center and Park. We had the egg hunt on the artificial turf field, while most of the other activities were held on the outdoor basketball courts, and we had the Easter Bunny come to the Redbud Room where parents had an opportunity to take pictures. And this event, just so we could emphasize what we did during the event, 12,500 eggs were given out during that egg hunt. It was like 5 minutes of putting out the eggs. Within a minute, all those eggs were devoured by the kids, and we expected that many the turnout to be high, and staff reporting over 1,000 people attended throughout the day from 10 to 1. So at any one given time, it might not have looked like 1,000 people, but from beginning to end, that's the numbers that my staff are reporting to me. It was very successful. Moving forward, we had our spring break camps also during these last 2 months, both at Spar Heights Community Center and at Pacific Community Center. Pacific, we offered 3 camps, Kinder Camp, Cool Days, and Traveling Teens, while Spar, we offered the traditional Spartacular Camp. We had Metro and Cycle come and give bicycle safety classes. We had our monthly billiards tournaments at ARC once a month at the beginning of the month. ARP did 2 presentations, one on home fit, and they had a smart driver safety course at the Adult Recreation Center. What's cool about that course is if a senior signs up for that course, for the dollar amount, when they complete the course, they get a certificate and they could turn it over to their insurance provider and get up to 10% off their car insurance. And we had 2 Taste of Yoga pop-up events at Artsakh Paseo as well. Holiday celebrations during the months of March and April, we had our St. Patrick's Day event as well as our Easter event. And Therapeutic Recreation had its Arts and Crafts Night during the month of March, and then they had their annual bowling visit to Jewel City Bowl during the month of April. Youth and Family Services section had their typical every other week meetings with their teen night outs, and they also had a guest speaker come on one of those meetings, and they talked about healthy relationships and what it means to have a healthy relationship. And let excuse me for a second, and setting boundaries. And this is a teenage conversation, whether it's in person or via text message, and some issues that we see with our teens these days via text message, and that educational or that workshop was really important in having the teens be able to assert themselves and say, this is an inappropriate conversation via text message, you should stop. And that was that lecture topic. They also assisted with our championship games and preparing the banners for their school sites. And then our STAR program had their visit to CSUN in the month of March, and then they got to see Shazam during the month of April, and they also celebrated Easter and had their own little egg hunt. We had our One Glendale basketball season championship day, and here we see Edison winning the championship for the basketball season. Our Trails and Open Space programs had their Wilderness Work Days, whether it's the Riverwalk Work Day, Wilderness Work Day, and they also had their Friday night lecture series, as well as their themed guest presentations, whether it's medicinal plants of the West, nature hike, or the presentation with regards to leaping lizards and herpetologists talking about the different types of wildlife they could see in our outdoors. And then finally, Trails and Open Space had its quarterly GO program, Glendale Outdoors program, for our after-school youth sports program participants. And we had about 20 kids participate in the last GO program for this season. And we'll start those back up starting the 2019-2020 school year with the sports program starting back up again with the next school year. That concludes my presentation, if there's any questions.
Thank you. Next.
Next is 8E3, Park Services.
Good afternoon again, President Satrian, members of the commission. We're reporting on 2 months worth of activities. In the month of March, we completed 150 work orders, 116 of which were groundskeepers, 1 pest out application, and then 33 irrigation repair crew work orders for a total of 779 labor hours. And in the month of April, we completed 196 work orders, 145 by groundskeepers, none for pest out application, and irrigation crew completed 51 work orders for 1,027 hours, labor hours. The past couple of months, we've completed projects over on Verdugo Road, installation of the turf in the median as requested by the community. Just for the rest of the community to understand, this was an area that was reclaimed water and we're able to use turf in the area. And currently we're working at Maple Park along with the contractor at the playground. We're responsible for the irrigation and landscaping south of the playground. That project's progressing quite well, and we'll have updates and pictorial presentation on those, plus a couple of other projects for you in the coming month. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Thank you. Seeing we don't have any other items, we're adjourning this meeting at 3:39 p.m.